The secret behind the Da Vinci Code that the Church doesn't want you to know. Have you ever wondered if the Da Vinci Code hides truths the Church has buried for centuries? In this video, we uncover historical secrets, hidden messages and mysteries that will make you question everything you know about the history of Christianity. Get ready for a mind-blowing journey. Subscribe, like, and share your questions in the comments. Did you know that a secret hidden for 2,000 years might be concealed in a painting by Leonardo da Vinci? Yes, you heard that right. A single work of art, created by one of history's greatest geniuses, could hold the key to a truth the Church has fought for centuries to suppress. And if I told you this secret isn't just a conspiracy theory, but something historians, scholars, and even archaeologists have found solid clues about, stay with me, because I'm about to take you on a journey that will change the way you see the world. Let's start with Leonardo da Vinci. He wasn't just a painter, he was an inventor, a scientist, a mathematician, and above all, a man who loved hiding messages in his work. His paintings, like the Last Supper and Mona Lisa, aren't just art. They're puzzles filled with symbols and clues that only the most observant can decipher. And that's exactly what we're going to explore today, the secret the Church doesn't want you to know. Let's begin with The Last Supper. This painting, created in the late 15th century, shows Jesus and his apostles on the night before the crucifixion. But look closer. Something's off. Have you ever noticed that the person sitting to Jesus' right doesn't quite look, well, like a man? Many scholars believe this figure is Mary Magdalene, not one of the apostles. And why does that matter? Because, according to some historical theories, Mary Magdalene wasn't just a follower of Jesus. She may have been far more important than the Church has ever admitted. Think about it. Why has the Church for centuries downplayed Mary Magdalene's role? In the canonical Gospels, she's mentioned as a loyal disciple, present at the crucifixion and the resurrection. But in ancient texts, like the Gnostic Gospels discovered in Nag Hammadi, Egypt, in 1945, Mary Magdalene is described as a spiritual leader, someone Jesus deeply trusted. So why did the Church portray her as a secondary figure? Was there something about her that threatened the institution's power? Here's the first secret: the possibility that Mary Magdalene wasn't just a disciple, but someone with a central role in the history of Christianity. Some ancient texts suggest she might even have been Jesus' wife. Yes, you heard that correctly. What if Jesus had a family? And what if that lineage still exists today? This idea, which sounds crazy at first, is the heart of the mystery explored in Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code. But what many don't know is that Dan Brown didn't make this up out of thin air. He based it on years of historical research and theories that have circulated for decades. Now let's go back to Leonardo. In the Last Supper, he placed Mary Magdalene next to Jesus in a position of prominence. But that's not all. The painting is full of strange details. For example, the space between Jesus and the figure beside him forms a V, a symbol that for many represents the sacred feminine, an idea the Church suppressed for centuries. And there's more. The apostles' hands, the objects on the table, even the colors Leonardo used. Everything seems to point to something bigger. It's as if he's shouting, "Look closer, there's a secret here." But why would Leonardo do this? Why risk his reputation, his safety, to hide messages in a painting? The answer lies in the context of his time. In the 15th century, the Catholic Church held immense power. Any idea that challenged official doctrine was considered heresy, and heretics were burned at the stake. Leonardo, a man who questioned everything, knew he couldn't speak openly. So he used his art as a code only the initiated could understand. Now let's talk about another secret, the Holy Grail. You've probably heard of it. The legend says it's the chalice used by Jesus at the Last Supper, said to have miraculous powers. But what if the Holy Grail isn't an object? What if it's something much deeper? In the Da Vinci Code, Dan Brown suggests the Grail is, in fact, Jesus' lineage, preserved through Mary Magdalene. And this idea isn't new. It comes from medieval texts like the legends of King Arthur, which connect the Grail to a sacred bloodline. Think about it. A sacred bloodline descended from Jesus would be a direct threat to the Church's power. If Jesus had a family, it would mean that Christianity, as we know it, might be based on an incomplete version of history. The Church, for centuries, consolidated its power by claiming to be the only connection between God and humanity. But what if there was another connection, a living bloodline, that would change everything? And here's another mystery: the Priory of Sion. This is a secret society that, according to legend, was founded to protect the secret of the Holy Grail. And guess who was supposedly one of its leaders? Leonardo da Vinci. That's right. Historians still debate whether the priory actually existed, but documents found in France, like the dossier secrets, suggest it might have been real. These documents, discovered in the 20th century, speak of an organization dedicated to preserving the truth about Jesus' lineage. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds like fiction, doesn't it? But the evidence is there. The Gnostic Gospels, dating back to the 2nd century, portray Mary Magdalene as a figure of authority. Medieval manuscripts describe the Grail as more than a chalice. And Leonardo's paintings are filled with symbols that challenge the Church's official narrative. Could he have known something he couldn't openly share? Let's explore another fascinating detail: the Mona Lisa. Everyone knows this painting, but few realize it might also contain clues about the secret. The enigmatic smile, the background that seems like a geographic code, the hands crossed in a specific way. Some scholars believe the Mona Lisa represents the sacred feminine, a celebration of women's wisdom and power, something the Church of Leonardo's time rejected. Could he have been hiding a message once again? Now let's talk about the Knights Templar. They were a medieval order of knights who protected Christian pilgrims, but they were also powerful bankers and guardians of secrets. In the early 14th century, the Church and the King of France accused them of heresy and destroyed them. Why? Some say the Templars knew too much about the Holy Grail and Jesus' lineage. They were burned, their treasures vanished, and the Church tightened its grip on power. But what does all this have to do with the Da Vinci Code? Dan Brown's book mixes historical facts with fiction, but it gets one thing right: the idea that the Church suppressed information for centuries. For example, the Gnostic Gospels, hidden for nearly 2,000 years, show a version of Christianity very different from the official one. They speak of spirituality, inner knowledge, and Mary Magdalene as a leader. Why were these texts banned? Why did the Church label them heretical? Let's fast forward. In the 20th century, archaeologists found the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Nag Hammadi texts. These documents revealed that early Christianity was far more diverse than the Church led us to believe. There were groups with different beliefs, like the importance of the sacred feminine and the possibility of a sacred bloodline. But the Church, over centuries, silenced these voices. Why? Because they threatened its control. Now imagine this. What if Leonardo da Vinci, with his paintings, was trying to preserve these ideas? What if he, as a member of the Priory of Sion, was protecting the secret of the Grail? His works are full of clues. In the Last Supper, the Apostle John looks like Mary Magdalene. In the Mona Lisa, the smile might be a code. Even his inventions, like flying machines, show he thought beyond his time. He was a rebel, a man who defied the rules. But let's be honest, not everything is proven fact. The Priory of Sion might be a legend. Jesus' lineage is a theory without solid proof. But the historical evidence is intriguing. The Gnostic texts exist. Leonardo's paintings are filled with symbols, and the Church for centuries suppressed ideas that challenged it. This isn't conspiracy theory, it's history. So what is the secret the Church doesn't want you to know? It's the possibility that Christianity, as we know it, is only part of the story. That Mary Magdalene was a spiritual leader, that Jesus might have had a family, that the Holy Grail is more than a chalice, and that Leonardo da Vinci, with his genius, left clues for the truth to survive. Now I want you to stop and think, what if all this is true? What if the history we've been told isn't complete? I'm not saying it's fact, but the clues are there, hidden in paintings, ancient texts and legends. It's up to you to decide what you believe. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You've just dived into one of history's greatest mysteries. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about all this? Drop your questions in the comments, like the video, and follow me for more mind-blowing content. Let's keep unraveling the secrets of the past together.